Think about a kid growing up in a house where every move is watched. What you wear, what you eat, who you talk to, what you study, where you work, who you marry. There is always someone standing over your shoulder, correcting, critiquing, deciding. That someone says, "I do this because I love you. I do this for your own good." But inside, you feel smaller every year. You don't feel loved. You feel controlled. Over-controlling parents almost never think of themselves as bad parents. In their minds, they are the responsible ones. They are the ones who care. They make plans, give lectures, read articles about raising successful kids, push you harder and harder. Yet very often, the children who grow up under that kind of tight grip end up anxious, lost, distant, or broken. The parents feel like they did everything, but the results are the opposite of what they wanted. The question is why? One harsh truth is this: the more powerless someone feels in their own life, the more they want to direct someone else's. If a parent feels stuck in a dead-end job, in an unhappy marriage, in dreams that never came true, it is very tempting to turn towards their child and think, "Here is where I can be in charge." They become the general manager of the family or the life professor. They tell their kids how to think, what to choose, and who to be. They do all of this without really fixing any of their own problems. But when your own life is full of regret and frustration, your advice is not clean. You are not just passing down wisdom, you are passing down fear, shame, and bitterness. You push your child not only to be better, but also to carry the weight of your own past. When that child cracks under the pressure, you don't see your part in it. You tell yourself, "My kid is lazy. My kid doesn't try." You blame their character instead of your approach. Another pattern shows up a lot: parents trying to live through their children. A mom who never went to college decides her daughter must become a doctor. A dad who never made money decides his son must become rich. They say things like, "I just want you to have what I never had." On the surface, that sounds loving. Underneath, it often means, "You need to fix the parts of my life that I am too scared to face." The child becomes a second chance in human form. In that mindset, the kid is no longer a person. They're a project, a vehicle to carry the parents' unfinished dreams. When the child cannot live up to those dreams, because they have different interests, different talents, or because they collapse under the stress, the parent feels betrayed. They say, "After everything I've done for you, you turned out like this?" They forget that they were trying to use the child to heal themselves. Controlling parents also love comparison. They compare their kid to classmates, cousins, neighbors, kids on the internet. "Look at her grades. Look at his job. Look at how polite that child is. Why can't you be more like them?" The measuring stick is always outside. The message is always the same: other people's children are better than you. What almost never happens is this: let me compare myself to other parents. Am I listening enough? Am I patient? Am I kind? They hold the child up against every other child. They never hold their own behavior up against any other adult. There is another type of over-control that looks modern but is just as empty. Some parents chase every new parenting trend they see on TikTok, Instagram, or in a book. They hear one expert say do this, and they do it. The next month, a different expert says the opposite, and they do that. Screen time rules, reward charts, strict schedules, gentle scripts. They grab any method that makes them feel like they're doing something. The problem is, they never stop to ask if this method fits their actual child. They don't understand it deeply. They just copy and paste it into their house. The child is not seen for who they are. They are treated like a test subject for every new idea that crosses the parent's feed. One of the most damaging forms of over-control is when parents demand things they never did themselves. They partied through school, but expect their kid to get straight A's. They never saved or studied, but insist their kid must own a house by 30. They never worked on their own mental health, but can't tolerate any sign of struggle in their child. They say, You must be strong. You must succeed. You must not disappoint me, even though they never held themselves to that standard. A humble parent can say, I messed this up. I hope you can do better, and I'll help however I can. A controlling parent says, I couldn't do it, so you owe it to me to do it for both of us.
Most of this control gets wrapped in the same sentence. It's for your own good. Sometimes that's true. Many times it isn't. Often it means, this is for my pride. This is for my image. This is so other people will respect me as a parent. If your child is miserable, ashamed, or terrified, and you still tell yourself this is love, it's time to look again. Love cares how it feels from the child's side. Ego only cares how it looks from the outside. When you override your child's feelings again and again, you teach them that their inner world doesn't matter. What other people think is all that counts. Some parents treat their children like trophies. When the child is doing well, they brag. They post report cards online. They talk about awards and college offers to anyone who will listen. When the child struggles, they go silent, or they complain. They avoid mentioning them in conversation. They feel humiliated in front of other parents. The child learns very clearly, you love me when I shine. You are ashamed of me when I fall. It's impossible to feel safe with a parent who only stands beside you when you make them look good. In the harshest version, parents see raising kids as a kind of business. They think, I invest money, time, and effort now. Later I should get a return, a successful, obedient child who takes care of me. They use words like, after everything I've done for you, the way a boss talks about a salary. The weird thing is, many of these parents are not good at running their own lives, their own finances, or their own careers, yet they expect a perfect outcome from their project. When that fails, when the child is struggling or distant or refuses contact, they blame the child. They say, you're ungrateful, you have no value, you ruined everything. They forget that they built the environment the kid grew up in. They shaped the product. We need to talk honestly about what this does to kids. Children of over-controlling parents usually grow into one of a few patterns. Some become very high-achieving on the surface. They get the grades, the job, the house, the partner, but inside they are anxious and exhausted. They never feel good enough. Their inner voice sounds exactly like their parents' criticism. They don't know how to rest without guilt. They don't know how to enjoy anything without worrying it could be taken away. Their whole sense of worth is tied to performance. Others rebel hard. They blow up the script. They drop out of school, move far away, pick relationships or lifestyles that are the complete opposite of what their parents wanted. People on the outside might call them lost or self-destructive, but often they are just desperate to feel their life belongs to them. Freedom becomes more important than safety because they have never had either on their own terms. They would rather risk everything than go back into a cage. Then there are the ones who shut down. They become passive, indecisive, stuck in place. When you grow up with someone else making every choice, you never get to practice choosing. You don't know what you like. You don't trust yourself. You keep waiting for someone, partner, boss, friend, to tell you what to do next. It is not that you are lazy, it is that your decision muscles never got to grow. Under all three patterns is the same wound. The inner compass is broken. The child doesn't know how to be guided by their own values because someone else's voice has always been louder. Now, it's important to say this clearly. Most controlling parents are not evil. They are often scared. They are often carrying trauma from their own childhood. Maybe they grew up in poverty, so they are obsessed with financial security. Maybe they grew up in chaos, so they cling to rules. Maybe their parents were cold, so they cling to their kids out of fear of being alone. Control feels safe to them because losing control once hurt them deeply. Understanding this doesn't erase the damage, but it helps us see the full picture. If you are a parent and you hear yourself in any of this, the answer is not to drown in guilt. Feeling like a monster won't help your child. What will help is curiosity and humility. You can start by asking, is this demand about my child's needs or my own fear and pride? You can admit when you push too hard. You can say, I'm sorry, I was scared. I took it out on you. That doesn't make you weak, it makes you honest. You can give your child real choices instead of fake ones. Not piano or violin, but do you even want to play an instrument? You can listen when they say no instead of punishing them for having a will of their own. If you're an adult who grew up with controlling parents, your work is different. Your job now is not to fix your parents. Your job is to slowly build the skills they did not let you use. Start small. Choose your own coffee order. Wear something you actually like, not what would make mom happy. Say no to a small request so that later you can say no to bigger ones. When you catch that harsh inner voice calling you useless or weak, pause and ask, whose voice is that? Most of the time, it is not yours. You can learn to talk to yourself in a gentler way. You are also allowed to want things your parents never approved of. Art, travel, therapy, a slow life, a different kind of career. Your life is not a group project where your parents get to grade you. It is okay to set boundaries, even if they raised you. Less time with them, less sharing about your personal life, more space. Respecting your parents does not mean letting them run your life forever. In the end, over-controlling parents often fail for a simple reason. They confuse control with love. Real love is not gripping someone so tightly that they cannot breathe. Real love is not using your child to repair your own story. Real love gives tools, values, and support. Then, little by little, it hands the steering wheel over and steps aside. You do not own your children. They are not your investment, your trophy, or your second chance. They are human beings who come through you into the world, but belong to themselves. If you are a parent, your job is not to be the cheap director of another person's entire life. Your job is to be a guide, a shelter, and then, eventually, a background character in their story. And if you are the child of that control, your job now is to pick up the pen, to stop being the project and start being the person, to look at what hurt you and what helped you, and decide what you want to carry forward. That is how the cycle breaks. That is how slowly you stop living under someone else's script and begin to live your own.